Okay, we're at Chestnut Country Lodge, postprandial fireside boozing. I'm chatting to Jean, who is the co-owner and general everything here at the lodge. So Jean's going to tell us a few stories and just give us a bit of an intro into himself.
Sure. Okay. Well, I actually only met Chrissy 4 years ago.
That's the
owner.
Yes.
She's the boss.
So by marriage.
And by marriage, I sort of became a sort of. She acquired a certain appendage to the business, which is quite useful. Just me.
Yes.
So I cook. I
clean.
I do bottles. I do
Windows?
most things. Windows as well. The whole works. Also do game drafts.
Game drafts.
I take people away for many days if they want to go. And sometimes it's a bit of a loss because I've gone from the lodge for a while.
Because the Kruger's right on the doorstep of.
Yeah, we are just a half an hour.
How far are the gates?
About a half an hour away from.
Which gates are they?
Oh, we got Pabeni Gate, which would be the closest. That's 10 kilometers from Hazyview, and we 9 and 10 kilometers from here. 30. How much?
30 k's.
Yeah, 30 k's. Okay. And then we got Numbi Gate, which is about 28 kilometers, I would say, another way if you go from the back roads. And Port Kruger is 50 kilometers, yeah. But yeah, we got a diversity of animals, especially around our area. We've got magic bird life around
the birds are fantastic.
Chestnut and
you've got my purple-crested lory. It's my favorite
definitely,
bird.
and olive bushshrike and very special birds. A bee-eaters up here that nest throughout the year.
Saw the Europeans, yeah.
And then the cuckoos also nest up here in this area, and eagles. We got a ground eagle nesting just over the mountain over there, calling.
And you say you got a fish eagle?
And fish eagle come up from the river. We're not far from the Sabi River, so they do tend to sort of come across the airspace here and call. So we in a total nature environment where you can actually go for a walk and see a lot just around the lodge, not even having to venture out if you want to just veg at the lodge for a while and look at birds and swim in the pool and whatever, and it's fantastic. You can really enjoy it if it's not raining, of course.
Well, the weather here it's like 3 seasons in one day. It's similar to Cape Town,
that's true,
but it's just a lot more pleasant.
No, just less Cape Townians.
Less Cape Townians,
yeah.
And but
I know. The thing is, I've done quite a few. The sun just came up.
Gee, I've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's strange, it came up from the west side.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, it has. Really.
4 seasons, one day, sunrise.
But we do tours and stuff like that. I take people in for tours in the Kruger National Park, and we come across a few strange things as well, and good stories of people, and talking to elephants, which embarrassed myself, not only the elephant, because he can't understand me properly with a South African accent when he's African. But anyway, the one sort of...
So you're an elephant whisperer, I've heard.
Not really so much though. I just experienced something totally amazing with an elephant the one day. We had a guy up in Botswana, and we had to go and look at a group of elephants, and he's a bit of an artist, but he's also a totally knowledgeable guy on elephants. And I was assigned to him to take him out for the day because the lodge I was working at had no people. So I said, well, they got something to do, take this guy out. And it was quite exciting because he is so full with knowledge of elephants.
Like the gestation period is 22 months.
That's about it, like that. And but even more in things like that, communication and noises that elephants make. Farting, does it happen? It does. But
it's one way of communicating.
You think
stay away.
You think of an elephant there, right? Especially downwind.
Yeah, stay away. I ate acacia for lunch.
Acacia. Yeah, the thing is now, when you don't want to be around when elephants in must.
No.
So
must spelled with the H at the end.
Must.
Yeah. Must.
He must mate.
Yes.
That's what normally is the thing.
What's the gland on his head called?
It's just a temple gland. No, the temple gland on his head there. What actually happens there is the elephant comes into a must. With all males come into a must.
Strange.
And normally
it's
over
the
age
women
of
that
30.
get on heat and nights.
Yeah, but they also come on. You see, the elephant has to come into a mating cycle. your females come not all together like a mating, like impala, once a year. And so they'll individually, throughout the year, they'll come into mating cycles, where your elephant males also come into that mating cycle. If they all came together into that same mating cycle, there'd be havoc.
They'd kill each other.
Kruger National
Well,
Park.
there would be nothing left.
There would be no cars. They'll be flattened. There'd be lots of little opals running around.
They're saying about that when elephants fight, the grass is the loser, or what's it saying?
I don't know. I think the dead one's the loser.
No, but I think there's a saying where the elephants fight, the grass is the loser.
Yeah, no, they actually, they wait, they actually, they will do that.
Kill everything.
But anyway, we found a herd, and we were watching this herd the one day, and what actually happened was he was sketching the thing, and I was quite interested because I wasn't too clued up at that time about what's a matriarch, and things like that. And he said, "Oh, this is a matriarch," and he drew the ear, and he drew a little cut in the ear, and had a bit of a notch in the ear there, and he said, "Oh, that's a matriarch." And I started asking me questions, and it was very interesting. But geez, we noticed that there was a young bull hanging around, and he wasn't fully mature, or maybe not mature enough to mate, and he kept on trying to come into the herd. And he kept on trying to come into it. And every time he came into the herd, the matriarch turned around and chased him off. And of course, no, he just lifted his head up, his tail went straight like this, and he just trumpeted and ran off like that, very disgusted, and stomped trees and made a lot of dust and broke a few little trees in his way. And then he would stick around for a little while like that. But he was coming into must, but he was too young still. And
bloody teenagers.
Like he was trying. He's like, like Justin Bieber. Check.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah. Yeah, crocky, who's that? Anyway, so this elephant just turned around and he started coming back, and he kept on doing it the whole afternoon. And it was, we started getting used to it, and I was just sitting down reading a book and checking out birds and the hawks, and he was doing sketches and doing little writing stories. Geez, the next minute we just heard this terrible scream, and we heard this thud like two trucks hitting each other. And what had actually happened, this male came in again, but instead of backing down, he actually went straight for the matriarch.
Yeah.
And he hit her, but he hit her straight in the chest with a tusk.
Yeah.
And that tusk penetrated straight into the
lung,
vital organs.
Yeah.
The heart, maybe, in the front there. She just sank down, collapsed like that. As she stood, she collapsed. And the scream that came out of her just made these other elephants just run in all directions. They were just all over the place, and dust and the whole works. And
she's the matriarch.
And that was terrible
that's like Egypt and Mubarak. If Mubarak got stabbed in the chest,
it's chaos.
Yeah.
It'd be worse.
Anyway, he turned around. He stopped, and he turned around and he came back to the matriarch. But by the time he got there was this huge pool of blood, and that was actually quite frightening, because when he got there, he didn't know what to do. He's still a young, inexperienced elephant bull, and all the guy was saying to me, he says, that shouldn't happen. Bulls don't kill matriarchs. And he got there, and this bull actually, with the tusks, tried to lift her up.
Yeah.
And he made this rumbling sound, that sound the whole time like that. And he tried to lift her up, and no movement. And then he just stood there. He just stood there for a long time. When it started getting dark, we left.
Yeah.
But early that next morning, we
was
were
still
going to
there.
come back. Oh, we got there, and he, of course, charged us.
Yeah, I know.
Not realizing that the whole night he kept the whole pack of hyenas away from the body.
Oh, no.
And the blood smell and the whole works. And,
because it's free meal then.
And
huge meal. Like
yes.
an orgy of food.
And he just kept it clear of hyenas, and it was actually quite touching, because he stood with it. Every time you go close with a car to get closer, he'd get aggressive and he'll chase us, and we'll go back our distance again. And after staying there for a little while like that, we noticed that he started dragging trees, and he had broken down all these trees from the bush. You know, they call it the shepherd's tree.
Yeah.
It's a bush, the tree of life, like the burning bush in the Bible. And he started packing these trees against this matriarch.
Against the dead.
And it was actually quite touching, because you're wondering, why is he doing that?
Trying to protect
it's like a burial that he was trying to do.
Protect her from the scavengers.
Pulled it together like that in the whole works, and he stood there for a long time. He actually had his trunk draped over it like this for a while, and then he let his trunk relax next to her, and it's sort of fully extended. And then you just saw this puff of like a big sigh, like a.
Oh no!
You saw this
dust,
puff of dust. And he turned around, and he went up to a hill. We actually named it Disappointment Copy after that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And he actually just committed suicide. It was,
Did he?
yeah, it was flipping amazing. It was.
What happened?
What happened? He actually stuck his trunk up his arse and blew his brains out. So these are the kind of stories we tell in the bush, you see. They keep people amazed.
All the time, yeah.
And
Shepherd's Bush I love that one.
Sick.
I love that.
That is